What is the heart of a Catholic school?
Since the early missionaries set up schools in Singapore, Catholic schools have contributed to education in Singapore for more than 100 years. What is at the heart of a Catholic school that sets it apart from other educational institutions?
Catholic education is important and is relevant today because we believe that the child is a child of God, is made in the image and likeness of God. The child is being valued. We look at the holistic person because it includes the religious and the spiritual dimension of the child. There's this relationship with God, so it's different from what others offer.
I think the heart of the Catholic education is in fact the soul of Catholic schools, right? That there is a soul. It's not just a building. Okay? It's not just about what we're going to learn or teach there, right? But it's something that you can't really describe, you know. It's the culture, the environment, the climate, how people treat each other, you know, how the teachers teach, and in many ways how the teachers teach the students to learn.
It wasn't about what they taught, but I think it was the way that they interacted, that they built the relationships with us. And they always wanted us to become good people rather than just good students. And what I loved about the school was that it was so focused on character development. And we would recite the vision about being a gentleman and a bilingual scholar. And I think that really came about. And I am who I am today because of the school.
I'd like to mention Mr. Raymond Tay, because one phrase that I remember from him is, whatever you learn in here, whatever education you learn, be it English, physics, mathematics, it's all secondary. The main focus and the primary focus should be, when you graduate, how much better of a person are you?
The school allowed us all to grow as well-rounded individuals, and they allowed us to become better individuals. As I said before, they focused on letting us think beyond the self. And with that, want to give back, and I believe I have been giving back or trying my best to give back to society for a number of years now. So I've been getting, I find myself wanting to and getting myself involved in volunteering in charity work, as well as getting involved in philanthropic initiatives.
I was fortunate to be here in 1991, starting in 1991, because we had a colleague who is the brother of the school, the spiritual leader of the school, and he's none other than Brother Dennis. And I realized that the brother is ever so giving. Whatever little amount he has, he gives. He can walk into the staff room and, you know, for no reason or rhyme, you know, the day is so good, and you hear him chirping, yippee, and somehow it just permeates, you know, around the staff room. And it just, I don't know, it's just so magical. It just perks us, you know, all up.
For me, it makes us more spiritual. The key, because in the schools that we go to, can really enhance our spirituality. Not only religiously, but spiritually. Our prayer life is stronger.
What I felt is the heart of a Catholic school, but to me, I think the heart is really a heart of Jesus, and from that heart of Jesus, right, emanates love, right, and love transcends KPIs of the world, right, whether it's a PSLE score or whatever it is.
Because education is not about achieving good results, or A1 or A2 for history. I strongly believe it's education of life. It is not about the subject. It is about imparting the right values to them. It's about helping them, giving back to society. I'm paying forward. I always believe education is about imparting values.
My mom was also previously from a Catholic secondary school, and that actually impacted my decision to join St. Nicholas Girls' School. This is because it was rooted in values and it provided a holistic education for me, not only focusing on my academics, but also the spirituality and character development.
I think a Catholic school has taught them to be very compassionate, thinking about others, service to others, and not so self-centered. You know, there's always a very strong emphasis about how they can be of help to others, how they can actually serve others. The empathy is there. Just recently we were overseas, and my daughter wanted to post pictures, you know, that we were having fun overseas. And then the other daughter reminded her, hey, you know, if you keep posting all these things, your friends who cannot afford to go overseas, they will feel, you know, they will actually feel bad, you know, that you're boasting. And I feel that really this is not something that just comes naturally. I think the school has played an important role in inculcating this about this empathy, and I think Catholic school has done this very well.
But the important thing is that I've got something to always go back on, all right? Always go back on, which is I have a forgiving Father. God is a forgiving Father who will forgive me, therefore I should forgive myself and don't be too tough on myself. But at the same time, be willing also to admit my mistakes if there are any, and to ask for forgiveness. Then hopefully, most of the time, I am acting, you know, in alignment with my values, with my faith, and simple in virtue, steadfast in duty.
I enjoy the teaching by the sisters in the Catholic class, and I learn a lot from the sister.
I was just walking down, going to school, going to have tuition, like my usual. But then Brother Nick comes and stops me, and he tells me like, "Hey, would you like to come for the morning prayer?" And I was just a bit like, why is he asking me that? I was wondering like, why is this morning prayer so early? It's like 7 a.m. I want to sleep some more. I want to eat my breakfast. It's like, oh. I'll just have special mention to Brother Nicholas for giving me the opportunity to join a legion after not being part of church activity. Through my whole life, I've never actually went through such a meaningful experience like this. And I just want to thank Brother for this opportunity.
But like every Friday, all the Catholics gather, and then we would have like maybe we will have like sharings, we will have like sing song, praise and worship sessions and everything. And then also during CCE lessons, the Catholics are also separated from the classes. So we have like a different program, but it's like tailored for the Catholics.
How are you gonna teach the children or teach us, you know, to actually go for our best, to strive and make full use of the talents that God has given us, that they are strict, but they are strict in a very loving way, all right, such that you know, they impart to us not only, you know, academically, right, but also, you know, from the heart, right, of what it means to be fully human and fully alive. Right, we come together, we push one another, you know, and if we see our classmates falling behind, you know, how can we actually, you know, support each other? So it's not a matter of if you do better means I will be impacted. It should be we celebrate us all doing well together.
It's really nice that myself and my sisters going to the same school as my mom and my kids going to the same school as me. And when I brought my kids back to school, although it had changed, we had moved to Toa Payoh, so the hardware was different, but essentially the software was the same. I think having a relationship with a school where you know that they are always there for the best interest of the child, there's a lot of give and take, and I think that's something very beautiful there. Yeah.
There is something different about teachers in a Catholic school, be it the compassion, the Christ-like compassion that they have, the love that they produce is very different. The love that they radiate for their students is different. So the way that they embodied not only the faith but their passion for teaching was very different. So they were definitely a role model to me there and then.
Each school has its own set of values that we propose to the students. So for a Catholic student, all these values are personified in the person of Jesus. He lived them out while during his time on earth. And for the non-Christian students, for them it would be a values education. They may not recognize Jesus as Lord, but for them certain values that we hope that they can live by while they are in school and after they leave school. So even a student that does not believe in God or is an atheist can feel at home in our school because we respect the position or the background that they are from. So for the Christian, we emphasize the Lord Jesus, and for the non-Christian, we emphasize the values by which Christ would have manifested in his own life.
For example, when I first entered this school when I was in secondary 1, on the very first day, Hai Sing has a tradition of having the 4 religions in our school to say prayers, praying for the start of a good year ahead. I felt that this was deeply memorable, as it's like it shows to me that religions can welcome each other.
Every Easter, there's a program, so it gets all the students involved, like the non-Catholics and the Catholics, where the Catholics help introduce this Easter to the society of non-Catholics, where they might be unsure of things. This is like, so this, no one gets left out. Everybody knows about Easter. We celebrate Easter together, and yeah.
Despite being a non-Catholic, I do not feel a sense of exclusion from the peers around me, because I am always welcome to participate in the various Catholic activities that there is around in the school.
In terms of being a Catholic and how it relates to my current profession, I think I see many parallels between the two. The military is about sacrifice in the service of a higher ideal, and in the same way it focuses on discipline, and also in the same way many people have likened being an officer, a soldier, to being a priest, and it is a vocation and it is a calling. So I feel that my education here in Catholic High as well as in CJC, in helping me find my identity, in helping me in grounding me in values that taught me to serve something bigger than myself, stood me in good stead and prepared me well for my current vocation in the military.
For me, growing up in a Catholic primary and secondary school, there was a very strong emphasis on being inclusive and servant leadership, where I have different groups and different assignments where we have to work in a team. Someone always has to take charge, and in the times that I do take charge, I have to be able to empathize with those who I've been delegating tasks to, and I think that's really important to know the demands on the ground, so that when you push ideas to them, they see you as someone who's experienced what they are facing.
Being in a
someone who wasn't really close to God when I was younger. When I transferred to Haising, because not only did I get to my dream school, but it's a Catholic school, and honestly, this is the reason why I'm so close to God right now, and the reason why I've made so much, like, I've had a deeper sense of connection with Him.
I also have friends who are non-Catholics, but since I also want to share my faith to them, as I want them to know what's more to being a Catholic than just praying every day and God and Jesus. I want them to know how amazing Catholic community is.
Including me and accompanying me with my two friends, Brian and Marcus. Three of us set up the Legion of Mary Junior in Our Lady of Perpetual Succor Church. The interesting thing about our Legion is that unlike other legions who focuses on the youth or the teenagers, our Legion is purely catered to those under the age of P6. So our Legion is somewhat like, you can say, maybe a mini childcare center. And we are thankful that parents trust us, that bring their children in, and as now we have about 15 kids with their parents together.
I mean, the memorable experiences are those of the students, from those that are very well brought up to those to the other extreme, and each one of them is unique because I see each one of them as a gift of God, graced by Him, and God has entrusted our school with these students. I mean, for the 4 or 5 years that they are with us, it doesn't matter their religion or their religious background or their race. It's a human being that God has put into our hands, and so within those few years that the student is with us, how have we or I helped that student grow to be a better person? So how do we contribute to help these, at least in our school, young men to become good citizens for our country?
Do well not because you are good. Do well because this is what the Lord has blessed you with. And use your talents and your grades and your performance in school to glorify God. And God becomes part and parcel of their life, that it becomes even second nature. When they consider any vocation, even if they want to be a banker, lawyer, doctor, God is one of their factors that they incorporate into it. But if it is just decision making based on pros and cons and God is not there, and God is not significant, then most definitely there won't be any call that they can hear, even though the Lord can be knocking very hard on their door, the door of their heart. But they will not be able to hear that, because the noises in the world is so much louder, and the things in the world is so much more attractive, seemingly so much more attractive than the life of service to God and His people.
I think as a whole, we could have a stronger identity as a Catholic school, as a Catholic school community. I think I also find it regrettable that a lot of our good performers, such as those in my cohort who are also Catholics, do find the pressure from their peers or maybe from parents in Singapore society to go to schools that are good in their academics, have a reputation in academics. But I think for us, what we should change is that we should see that there's more to life than just being good at studies. And I think if more of our students, if more of our Catholic students do choose to continue on in Catholic schools, our performance as a whole, and I think our education will become a lot stronger, and the Catholic identity will be a lot stronger as well.
So while we emphasize the Catholic aspects of education, we must also help our students understand the multi-religious, multi-racial nature of our country. And so the more that we help this racial and religious harmony in our country, then we would already be achieving what Catholic education wants, building the kingdom of God on earth, a kingdom where everyone regardless of his background, will be a brother and sister to each other.